Well, welcome aboard. Welcome aboard. Beautiful Sunday, everybody. Very fortunate to be able to grab the bike and come out for a little ride and put things in a little perspective. My phone hasn't been ringing off the hook for tree cleanup. Although, you know, the few that I've gone out and did assessments for, I've gone back and had a look to see how they fared out, and you know, there was some damage from other trees, but nothing that they were concerned about, you know, with the risk tree. So we did good there. But I had a chance to have a look around, and there's lots of activity going on, and it's neighbors helping neighbors. So that's kind of the theme of what I was going to talk about today on today's little ride when I reflected on that. My phone is not ringing right now for a number of reasons, probably because people don't have phone service, cell service or whatever. But the goodness of people, neighbors, you know, they're helping each other. The business side of it will come along. You know, things are just scopes of jobs are just way too big. When you've got to climb up on things, you know, the risk. People want insurance and liability and workers' coverage and things. So that falls outside the realm of what your neighbors can do. But it's the goodness of people in your street to come together and to help each other. And that made me think of a couple of things. You know, you take people's politics and you take people's ideologies, and when we're too comfortable sometime, you know, our attitudes and our opinions get in there, and it becomes very aggressive, especially on social media. So I remember talking to a friend of mine about what I saw during COVID. And, you know, and his idea was the COVID. Yes, right. The government scaring us, that kind of thing. And I didn't bite on that. But my reply to that was, it was good for the country. So he started laughing. He said, now you got to explain that one to me. And I said, well, here's how I see it. I've been in a lot of places around the world, and whether it's been wars or whether it's been civil disobedience or it's been fires, floods, earthquakes, you know, whatever. The population, society has learned how to mobilize and how to respond. So when I went to get my second shot down in Wolfville, there was a tent set up there, and there were young girls working it, and you drove through, handed your paperwork, you were under like a sort of a drive-through tent, you got your needle, you drove over where they told you to, someone there to meet you, and the check on you, in 15 minutes you can leave. And they were all young people. And I said to one of the girls, you know, I'm so proud of you guys. You know, there were volunteers there, and how you've stepped up to this. And it's bigger than what you see. The country had learned one of its first steps, you know, internal mobilization, domestic mobilization. And that's what I tried to say to my friend, is that we learned a lot from this. Whatever your ideology is about it, really, to this point, is irrelevant. It's that the country learned how to mobilize. And that is, to my point, the goodness of people will always, always come. You know, 24 hours ago, I would not have been doing this. It was a nasty, nasty little bit of weather, and it went, fortunate for us and unfortunate for some folks, it went further east. So, you know, I know this is, you know, you hear it all the time, thoughts and prayers, but to the people of Cape Breton, the Eastern Shore, Nova Scotia, Newfoundland, Port aux Basques in particular, you know, there's some sad days ahead. But but it's the goodness of people. It's the goodness of the world that the next day after that disaster that the sun will shine. And it always makes me feel like, no matter what's going on, it's a lot of work to stay angry. It's a lot of work to stay mean. That's what causes your face to wrinkle up in stress. It's a lot of work to have a broken heart. But it's very easy to feel good because it's a feeling. And that will generally be the magnet of society. There's lots of reasons to be angry and to be mad. The atrocities by certain groups, that were laid upon people. Well, that's generational, that anger, that hurt will stay there. But I believe inside that, that your heart is hurting because it wants to, it wants you to feel the love and the peace. I really believe that. But with what's too raw is the pain, which causes, the anger and the hurt. So that, again, when I look at what people are doing to help each other, what's gone on in this country, I've ridden across it back and forth like 4 times in the last 2 years, sat down, talked to a lot of people, a lot of time to think. And no matter what, because you catch people at a moment where you can strip away whatever they're trying to force upon you. You can talk about the bike and the road, and you can talk about, your feelings, just about that. And for the most part, people are happy, they feel it, and they want to help. It's just the natural way that I really believe that people just want to help. And with these storms and with all these other things that have been going on, neighbors are there for each other. Provinces are there for each other. If it could just stay that way a little bit longer, what happens in front of you is the news. And the news only lasts from the time it happens till maybe the time it's brought back to goodness. Because we don't seem to chase the good stories. We seem to be attracted to, the bad stories. So the news cycle only lasts, maybe not even till you find the good. But anything after the news, it becomes opinion and debate. And that's where, the arguments and all the junk starts. Lots of traffic. People want to get out. I would have went, but that car, a little confusion here between the two of them. Come on, buddy, go. So as I was saying, after the news, and whatever the news is, people are happy or people are hurt, but your neighbors are going to come together. Right next door or across the world, they're going to come together. But when ideologies get in it, money gets involved, and it becomes opinion debate, then it's not the news anymore. It is definitely not the news anymore. I see they're setting up now for the Scarecrow Festival here down in Mahone Bay. So you probably can guess where I'm going. See, the church steeple survived. So, to everybody out there, heads up, hearts open. Help your neighbor. Wow, Mahone Bay is busy. I think there's even a parking spot for me right here. Coffee time, folks.